Warning. This show was filmed before a dead studio audience. That is me making noise. So I picked up a toy at Five and Below for $5 whole. Came in a box. I think I showed you guys this week before.
Mm-hmm.
This guy was at a local bin store. I haven't even seen whatever this character is in, I don't think. I started watching a little bit of the Clone Wars, I think. I did watch the rest of Ahsoka. I enjoyed that.
Yeah, I really did too. It's the
Even
most
though,
Star Warsy feeling
Papa
thing.
Smurf, what's his name?
Thrawn.
He'd look better with a white beard, I'm just saying.
I don't think he didn't have a beard at all in the series, in the books.
He's very blue. There's a very blue.
He is very blue.
Yeah. So welcome. Hey, everybody.
Hello.
Welcome to Atomic Dork Duo. That is where the 2-0 of us duo our show.
Wow.
Yeah, I don't have any theme music. I don't have any bumper music. Daniel, I still think that you should have your keyboard hooked up to your computer so you can just play chords and melodies as we go, or even
You know what? It's interesting. I am using my recording microphone. I wonder if I can use, if two devices can use it at the same time, because if it can, I will. Let me I also happen to have my my recording software open.
Yeah, like you don't have to get your trombone out or anything, though. I always thought like a little melody going.
Well, you know what the problem would be is I wouldn't be able to hear it, because it wouldn't
be able to hear.
Well, can you hear anything?
No.
So yeah, it doesn't work.
Damn it. It's all right. I guess we'll just have to imagine music.
Just imagine the most amazing piano playing you've ever heard.
Yeah.
That's what's happening.
Imagine us singing in perfect harmony to it. So.
Yep.
So camping trip / Grand Canyon Petrified Forest.
Yeah. Petrified Forest, Painted Desert, and which are right next to each other, and the big hole in the ground that caused by a rock.
Oh yes, the meteor. Yes. I got my sleeping bag. It's rated for, I think, I don't know, 20 degrees to 32 or something. Seems like it'll be fine. I got in it. It's long enough for me to get over my head, which is nice, and it's actually got some room. So if I'm kind of a side sleeper or a face sleeper. I mean, I'll sleep on my back too, but I don't want to. Then I wind up snoring. So I'll probably roll over on my side. Yeah, it's nice and roomy, nice and warm. I also bought a down travel blanket.
Yeah,
that rolls up into a pack.
Yeah, we got that. I'm bringing one of those too. Stuffing that in your sleeping bag will add 15 degrees to it. So
yeah. So yeah, it got delivered this morning. I unpacked everything, rolled it out on my bed, and then took the blanket and got in there with it, and like I got warm quickly. Now of course that's sitting in a climate controlled bedroom and not back of an open truck when it's 30 degrees out.
The trick to stay one of the tricks to staying warm in a sleeping bag is don't wear the clothes you've been out in the cold air in, because those have moisture in them. So at the very least, either put on new clothes and get in, or I just usually sleep in my underwear in the sleeping bag and I'm fine.
Okay. I was reading a lot of reviews, and people were like, they're like, in order for a sleeping bag to be comfortable as it's rated, um if you're sleeping in your drawers and expecting it to keep you as warm as it would if you actually dressed appropriately for that weather, they were like, people expect it's going to be a 0-degree sleeping bag, but they want to sleep in their underwear in it. And you're like, no, you need to sleep as if it's 0 degrees out. You probably need to be wearing long johns.
Right. The 0-degree
gloves,
rating
and a
is it'll
hat.
keep you alive at 0 degrees.
Right. So not specifically
The comfort
comfortable.
comfort temperature is usually 20 degrees higher than that.
Oh, okay. So I
Or
got
if
some
you tend to be a
thermometers.
hot, I tend to be a warm person anyway, so
Yeah.
my heat radiates back at me pretty quickly.
Yeah, I'm like a furnace. I got a so in case we want to stick up a local gas station.
Nice.
Yeah. What is these? These are baklavas, which are also a tasty
Very
Mediterranean
tasty.
dessert. Yeah. And then I got some nice warm wool gloves with little pads on them.
It's amazing how different you look with, I can just see your eyes. I don't know
Does
that I
it?
would be able to pick you out if I just saw your eyes.
You don't know if you would be?
And I would do the voice I would pick up on, but
Yeah.
yeah, just seeing your eyes, I don't think that I would know that. I mean, like, someone could have just stepped in and I wouldn't known that was them.
Hello. But yeah, but my voice gives it away
Yeah,
for sure. Isn't that weird?
it
You
is
don't
weird.
just ever look at somebody's eyes. I watch mouths when you talk.
There's people that when I first started my job, everyone was wearing masks still. And
Yeah.
like to this day, when I see them, they're fake because they're at a different location. I'll see one of them. We had that axe throwing thing a couple weeks ago, and I saw one of them there. I'm like, oh yeah, that's what you look like.
Child made candles.
Cool.
Now a candle maker.
Out of what? Earwax?
Yeah, boogers.
Earwax and boogers. That's the best candles.
Yeah. So this, based on how much I spent on gear for her to make candles, this candle is $35.
I mean, as
Well,
long as she sells them for 50.
so this one has like herbs and spices and rocks in it. This one is cedar and lavender. Smells like cedar and lavender. It's nice. So we got rocks and herbs. Oh,
Look like strawberries in the camera.
I'm gonna put this one on my in my nightstand. Yeah, good job. Yeah, so $45 each for those candles. Now, I'm assuming if she continues to make more, then the cost will come down on the per candle base average. But as of right now, I got like $90 in the candle making.
Ella made $480 at college by crocheting beanies that were in the colors of UT.
Wow. Genius.
Just posted it. Hey, does anyone want to buy a beanie? And 2 people said yes. And then one of the people who bought one posted it and posted it in the sophomore group. And yeah, by all was said and done, she was selling them for I think $20 a pop, which was way cheap, I guess.
Yeah.
I think but either way, maybe it's 30. It was 20 or 30, but still made $480 off of it. And now she has a regular job.
Now she has a normal job too.
Yeah. I don't think she's crocheted any beanies recently. Any more orders. Which is crazy because it's getting into the cold part of football season. So
right. Yeah. I like it when humans are creative and industrious.
Yeah, I mean, it's great to see her do it, especially since she's in college for business.
Yeah.
So already stepping out
there. You're like right there. You already got your undergrad done.
Yeah.
Find a need, find a niche, get it out there. If you build it, they will come. That's really the key. Just provide a service that other people need, that somebody needs, and then they'll pay you for it.
Yep.
It's pretty amazing. What else? Oh, I decided I wanted a nightstand for my bedroom because I didn't have one. I used to basically just live on a mattress, and you know, I've told you before, I got a little depressed after my divorce, and even when I thought I wasn't depressed, I found out I still was depressed, and yeah, I was just getting by, and I didn't really care about, like, my son stayed in my bedroom. I slept on the couch or fell asleep in this chair. I didn't take care of myself, obviously, which is what led to me almost dying in February. So, one of my biggest goals when I came back to this house was, I think I've mentioned before, is I completely gutted it, threw away everything. I feel like new dog, new couch, new paint. Like, I got a 15-yard dumpster and it was full. I just like clear everything. I don't even care at this point. Like, keep a couple of pictures of my kids when they were little. Otherwise, everything else is it's it- to me, it was like a memory of my quiet desperation of just being depressed, really. Being away from my kids was the hardest thing in the world. Just absolute hardest thing in the world for me.
Yeah.
But I put a lot into this house, like getting it clean and organized, and I have maid service come every 2 weeks to keep me honest and make sure, everything smells good, looks good. So I finally decided I wanted a nightstand for my bedroom, and I've already been kind of proud of my room because I'll show you a couple of pictures. I think I shared some in the past, but I put this, I have like blue lights up on a bookshelf, and I've got a big mural on one side that looks like a Harry Potter library. I've got one of those old timey electric fireplaces that the heat's off, but I keep the light on and it flickers. And I've really been trying to make it a place that I like to go to. And I've been sleeping very well, and I've been doing much better. It's amazing when you get like 8 hours of sleep instead of two. Um, so I told Hannah, I said, I want to go find a nightstand. The only reason I'm telling you this is because it was really weird what happened. So I said, why don't we go to the haunted antique store and look around, see what they got. It doesn't have to be a nightstand specifically. It could just be something that could double as a nightstand. Now, I don't have a frame for my bed. It's just a box spring and mattress. I do have a headboard, but I don't mind it being kind of low to the ground. So I'm like, I want something that's not too tall, not too big. It's not a very big room, but keep an eye out. We look around, we go around this whole place, and it's haunted, like verifiable through, like 75 years of stories of people's experiences there, of weird things happening, seeing things, apparitions, all sorts of stuff like that. That's why it's called the Haunted Antique Store. That's not their name. It's called the 22nd Street Antique Store. If you're in Arizona, Tucson, go down the 22nd Street Antique Store, Antique Mall. It is haunted. Go upstairs.
Not a sponsor.
Not a sponsor. So we do a lap downstairs, we do a lap upstairs. We really don't see anything that stands out too much. And then I saw in one person's little cubby that they had an old timey trunk, like like you would store stuff in, like blankets or pirate gold, one of like those. They had an old timey trunk that was up on the side, and they used that as the nightstand. And I thought, oh, that's kind of a cool idea. I think I saw one that's in like a half size trunk. So I send the kid, I said, go upstairs and see if it's $80 or less. Pick it up for me and drag it downstairs. Not that I really had any faith that she'd be able to drag an antique wooden trunk down the stairs by herself, but I sent her off to
You
go do
wanted
that.
some entertainment.
Yeah. So she's gone for a little while. I don't know, 7, 8, 9 minutes. And I'm like, well, it's taking a while to come back. So I circled to the back corner of the place, went up the stairs where it's haunted, and found the trunk. It was $275. Like, that's not $80 or less. So I went back downstairs and basically back to where I left her from. And then she finally meets me. I don't know where the hell she went because I went from the spot that I left her. She left me and then made the trip myself, came back. And then she's like, "Hey, Dad, the trunk is $275." I'm like, "Oh, really?
Thanks.
Right on." Thank you, child. I didn't tell her I went to check on her work. I don't want to undermine Dad's faith in her. So I decided to make another lap through the back of the store and look around one more time. So I'm walking along and nice little corner, you know, cubby. I have antique malls work. People have their own little sections. And I see this table. It's black. It's got like 2 shelves and a drawer in the middle and little flowers like into the wood. And it says Art Deco. And then I'm like, it was weird because I looked at it, I'm like, I didn't see this. I literally was just here a minute ago. I could have sworn. I don't know how I missed it. It's like right here on the edge too. Okay, well, I'm glad I saw it now. So I look at the price tag. It's like Art Deco, booth 11. And it was either $42, $72, or $92. Because the way they wrote their numbers, they were the kind of person, they make their 4s, could be a 7, could be a 9. It's got like a triangle going this way and it was just so I wound up looking at all these tags. I'm like, well, I'd pay 72. I don't think I want to pay 92, but maybe I would. 42, that's not likely. That would be amazing. This is a nice sturdy piece of wood. So I'm looking around all the tags to try and find similar writing. They had so many things that were like $19. But I was looking for like a 7. Is anything that's $17? Is this a 7 or is this a 4? I might be a 9. So I'm looking around all the stuff, and these gentlemen who work there, I flag them down. And I'm like, I'm going to take it, whether it's 92, 72, 42. I don't care. I like it. There's not 3 numbers in there, so I know it's not above 100. So I flagged these guys down. I'm like, hey, I'd like this piece right here. Would you guys be willing to, take it up front for me? And the guy stopped and he goes, well, all this stuff right here. I'm like, no, just the table. And he's like, oh, okay, yeah. That's weird. I've never seen this before. I'm like, okay. And then the other guy stops and goes, hey, do you need help? He goes, you want all this stuff? I'm like, no, not the stuff on top, just the table. And then this other guy goes, huh, that's a neat looking table. I've never seen that here before. And these are guys who their job is to move stuff around for people. That's what they do. They carry the heavy shit. They got, dollies or just brute strength, whatever. And he goes, oh, that's weird. He goes, so do you need a hand? He asked the other guy. He goes, no, I got it. I got it. I'll just table. Yeah. So we go to the front and he's like, here's the tag. We'll put it right here. I give the lady the tag and I'm just kind of crossing my fingers. That's not $92. And she goes, oh, is that table over there? What booth was that? I said, booth 11. She goes, really? I've never seen that before. That's really weird. And he goes, huh, hey, Marjorie, look at that table that was in booth 11. And the lady goes, wow, she doesn't carry pieces like that. That's not her style. That's so weird. And then another lady goes, who is it? And they go, it's so-and-so's, whatever. I don't, Betty, whatever, so-and-so's booth. And they're like, that's Betty's? I've never seen that before. That's so unusual. That's not like her. Okay. Well, it's $42. I'm like, yes. And then I'm like, I'm going to bring my truck around and then, you can put it in the back. I'll carry it when I get home, but I'm not going to throw my back out if I got somebody else who'll do the work for me. But then I'm walking to my truck and I'm just had this, like, everyone, it was echoing that same thing. I walked up and I go, how did I miss this? I've never seen this before. And then everybody, and I'm not kidding, this is all in like a 5-minute period. Everybody who came into contact with it had the exact same reaction. And that was just, I'm like, haunted antique store. I think this thing wanted me to, I feel like it's like, oh, here he comes. Hey, take me home. Like, I don't know, man. That was just weird. I'm not exaggerating. Hannah was there for it too. And she was like, that was kind of weird, Dad. And like everybody was like, where did that come from? We've never seen that before. That's hers. That's weird. I like it spoke to me. It needed to come home with me. So it did. And then keep organizing. Okay, go ahead. And then what is this? Can't back up. You're out of storage. Okay, well, F off. Yeah. No. Quit trying to get me to buy new things, people. Oh, maybe that's why my pictures aren't backing up. I need more space. Oh, well, I was going to show you a picture of it, but let me see if I can pull it up on my phone. My Google photos aren't backing up because apparently I'm full. They want me to buy more data. Let me see if it's, yeah. All right. I think I might be able to show you here. So that's the nightstand.
Hmm.
Can you see it?
Yeah, I can see it
Is it
fairly well
haunted?
anyway. Probably.
Art Deco, black. I may have bought a little Batman thing to put on top of that because I'm a nerd. You see that?
Yes. Is that a just a logo, or is it art?
Yeah, it's
or
like a
is it
logo and it says something about like, what does it say? Everything's impossible until somebody does it. I saw it at Hobby Lobby. So then my room now, we got that little end table. It fits in there perfectly. Everything fits now. I feel complete. It's very blue because I have blue lights, but they turn other colors too. But yeah, it was just weird. I don't feel like it's a haunted table, but I don't know.
Hmm.
It was just a weird scenario around getting it. So hell of a good price. No one ever saw it before. I think it came through a portal just for me.
alternate timeline? Hit at an angle there and made the.
What do you think about that? What do you think about that theory of CERN?
In
The
the
CERN basically misfiring and throwing us all into an alternate universe, and that's why the Mandela effect exists so strongly between what you perceive your past to be and what it actually was, is because have a different past.
No, I think that most of the Mandela effect things are people just so dumb.
People just being dumb.
Yeah, like the Berenstain Bears, whatever. Well, yeah, because Stain is not a name you would think of. That doesn't. That's why it's not in your memory. And you were 6 or 7 years old when you couldn't read.
Right. And if your parents were reading it to you, they were probably like Berenstein, like they know Jewish names.
Right.
So it made sense.
And the Mandela, I remember there was a early 1990s movie that was, I can't remember the guy's name, the actor. He's been in a lot of stuff though, but it was him in college and he was kind of the loser in college. And he's walking across campus one day and there's one of the guys out there, oh, free Nelson Mandela. And they're like, yeah, he was freed 6 years ago or whatever, man. And it's like, so again,
is that PCU?
PCU, that is it.
You're welcome.
What's his name? I can almost say it, but it's
Jon Favreau?
No.
Oh, he played Gutter.
Yeah, he was it. That's right, he was in it.
But it was
the main actor,
Jeremy Piven.
Jeremy Piven.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love PCU.
But yeah, so going back that far.
The Pampers is? What? Can you blow me where the Pampers is? Dude. Son, can you show me where the campus is? Oh, you're so dumb.
But yeah, I just always remembered that movie that Nelson Mandela was freed and
right
didn't die in prison.
91, I thought. He was
yeah,
president of the. Well,
So,
here's where, so I understand a lot of the stuff because I've had Rebecca like tell me the different little things, and I can answer to most of them. And I'm like, well, Denzel Washington was in a movie in 1982 called Cry Freedom. Maybe it was 85, called Cry Freedom, and he played Stephen Biko. And Biko was an apartheid revolutionary in South Africa who was beaten to death in prison, and he died in prison. And Peter Gabriel, when he went solo after Genesis, he wrote a song called Biko. And it's the story of Stephen Biko, September 77. And it's like oh Biko, Biko, because Biko. It's an anti-apartheid song that he did. So it's in the peripheral of people's subconscious
that
because
somebody died in prison that was
some
apartheid.
African guy against the apartheid died in prison. Yes, because from a pop culture point, you had a movie with Denzel Washington, and then you had a song by Peter Gabriel. So it seems very familiar to you. So if anyone knows, because they wouldn't say, "Oh, I remember Stephen Biko specifically," unless you're me, because I just happen to remember things and it seems clear to me. So if it wasn't in front of your face, it was on your peripheral as such. But then
You
I
know,
hear other things like Sinbad never played a genie in a movie, and that was Shaq. They both play genies in movies. I know because I worked in a video store and we rented both Shazam and Kazam. They were two different movies done within 2 years of each other. One, Sinbad was the guy. The other one, Shaq was the guy. Shaq was in Kazam. Shazam was Sinbad. But then people were like, nope, Sinbad's daughter come out and said that he was never in that movie. I'm like, bullshit. Now they may never have transferred it over to DVD from VHS. That's absolutely likely, but I saw both and I rented both. And I remember at the time thinking, well, how many fucking genie movies do they need to make? You know,
well,
that's goofy. So, you know, again, if you're on the peripheral and you're not working in the video store where you're having to stock both movies, then makes sense that you could say, well, yeah, maybe we're confused. Maybe it never happened. Well, it's not on his IMDb. Okay. What is everything on everyone's IMDb? Why do you make an assumption that data is perfect? What are your thoughts?
I was trying to think of that because I do think that he was in something like that. I didn't think it was a full-on movie though. But yeah, not being able to find something doesn't mean that it didn't exist.
Right. Now, whenever they say in Casablanca, he never said play it again, Sam. I'm
Oh
like,
yeah,
that's
there's a
fine.
bunch like that. There's
Never seen Casablanca, so I couldn't tell you one way or the other.
Darth Vader never said, "Luke, I am your father." Well,
Right.
no, that
No,
came
Luke, I'm your
from
father.
Tommy Boy.
Right. Correct. Right. Singing, talking into the
The
box fan.
fan going, "Luke, I am your father." Yeah,
Right. So yeah, things get misquoted in pop culture and then it gets misattributed.
yeah.
It's fine. It's gonna happen. You think when we're quoting movie lines that we're spot on, or do you think we're just getting the essence of the scene? You know,
Some
if
of
it's
them I'm
dumb and
spot on.
if it's Dumb and Dumber, I'm pretty much going to be spot on. So, Mary, I desperately want to make love to a schoolboy. What? Can you believe that he married that chick?
Mhm.
She had a fine booty on her. So
They were cute. I thought they were cute together too. I remember when
yeah,
she came. One of my favorite things was she was being interviewed on the Tonight Show by Jay Leno, and he walks out with her holding her hand, and she sits down. She goes, "Now these are nice people. They're going to take care of you," and and then he just it was. I thought
that's
that was
cute.
pretty awesome.
That's cute. So to go with the camping gear, since you and I haven't camped together since we were about 12.
And that was in backyards.
Yeah, we camped in backyards and then out in the desert, which we will be in the desert again, technically.
True. Yeah.
High desert. Now, out in the desert, we slept in the back of an open pickup truck in sleeping bags.
Amazingly, slept on without like no pads back then. I just can't imagine sleeping on something like a metal truck with no pads.
Right.
At almost 50 years old.
Right. Yeah, that would be uncomfortable. I picked up something.
Oh no. Oh no, again.
I had these delivered. So I figured I don't know if you want to do one now just for fun, and but we'll save the rest for the trip. Daniel and I used to do Mad Libs, and we used to laugh so hysterically, like ridiculous. We thought that these scenarios were the funniest thing ever, and I got 80s Mad Libs on top of that, buddy. So it's possible that these will be relevant and like we were in the 80s. So can I take you through a Mad Lib?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay. I'm gonna have to where's my pen? I need a pen. Oh shit. Hannah, do you have a pen? Do you have a pen? What? No? Can I borrow a pen? Thank you. How telling, I'm sitting at my office my workspace, and I don't have a pen. You know, they said that someday your handwriting will be irrelevant, and they were right. Okay, so
oh nice. Good to know we can actually have a campfire and firing at Grand Canyon.
Okay.
We'll have to pick up some wood when we get nearby.
Yeah, we can just steal some pallets from behind a grocery store. Or we can buy some bundles of wood.
Yeah, usually
okay,
the
so
ranger station has it.
This is gonna be gimme a beat is the Mad Lib. So can you give me a verb, please? And for those of you who don't remember, verb is an action word.
Stands.
Stands?
Like stand up.
Yeah,
stand.
Gotcha. I need an occupation, please.
Mouseketeer.
Oh, my writing's pretty legible. That's amazing. An adjective? Guys, the adjective is
scrumptious.
A descriptive word, so scrumptious. A celebrity, please.
Britney Spears.
Leave
since you sent me that knife video.
Britney alone. Part of the body, plural.
Knuckles.
A noun. Person, place, thing. For everyone else.
Car.
I need a verb.
Tuck.
Tuck. I need a plural noun.
Toys.
An adjective.
Grouchy.
I need another adjective.
But it took me so long to think of that one.
I know.
Stinky.
Why do I feel like I'm gonna laugh? Noun.
Noun.
Yep.
Phone. That one was a hard one. I looked down at my phone.
What did we do when we had so many less objects that we owned? Be very creative. Was just a color.
But I say, I was actually telling my wife about that I think that most of the problems we have with adults and stuff is just lack of imagination. Like, just if you could just think that you don't have to do this thing because there's all these other things you could think about doing here. That, yeah.
Definitely lack of imagination. I need a number, please.
42.
A noun,
Socks.
an adverb,
Angrily.
an occupation,
Toastmaster.
do you have a Toastmasters plaque?
I don't. I actually don't know where that came from, actually.
Okay. A plural noun and then a verb ending in ing, and we're done.
Plural noun. Okay.
Person, place, thing,
Bathtubs.
and then a verb
Tickle.
ending in ing.
Oh, tickling.
All right, here we go. Mad Libs. This is a Gimme a Beat. This is 80s Mad Libs by Daniel and Jeff. Some people say you can't stand a broken heart. Those people never met Mouseketeer Robert Jarvik, creator of the world's first scrumptious heart. Okay, period. Britney Spears started building artificial knuckles when he was a student at the University of Utah School of Cars, but he wanted to tuck a replacement heart that could save people's toys. Most people thought this was a grouchy idea. The heart is one of the most stinky organs in the human phone, but Jarvik tested 42 different models from plastic, polyurethane, and socks until he knew his heart was safe. In 1982, a surgeon angrily implanted Dr. Jarvik's artificial heart into a brave Toastmaster who volunteered for surgery. Since then, thousands of bathtubs have been saved by artificial hearts, thanks to Robert Jarvik. Artificial hearts keep tucking in chests around the world.
Tickling. That was the last one, was tickling, not tucking.
Oh, tickling, keeps tickling around the world. Sorry.
Which is even better, really.
Even better. All right. I'm sure we'll be delirious.
Yeah.
When it's freezing out.
At the end of the day. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. If you haven't done Mad Libs with anybody, I highly recommend it. Years ago, I decided to put a newsletter when I worked for the organization that sells insurance, named after a lizard. I wanted to do a get to know, I want to do like a monthly newsletter, right? So I came up with the idea for the department, for the service department, I think that might have been at the time. Like just for people to get to know each other, and they told me, yeah, go ahead and do it. I actually spent time putting it together, and then people continued to do it for a couple of years after that. And then I would do a part where I would interview somebody, get to know somebody who was in a somebody who was in a position, like an underwriting position, like people that that worked in a ancillary department that you would probably hear their name over and over again. I'm like, we should introduce people to those in those other departments. and I would do mine like Mad Libs. So I was always particularly entertained because I'd be like, I remember one, her name was Capine Alexander, and I remember I was like, what favorite word? And she's like moist. I start giggling. It was hilarious. She's like, I don't know why people hate that word. I love it. It's one of my favorite words ever. Moist. So I remember I wrote up the Mad Lib and I had the little dashes and I put in her answers to everything, and then yeah, it was a hit. And that was me paying homage to Jeff and Daniel in the tent in the backyard on Beck Drive in 1984.
In a canvas tent.
Good times.
Yeah, I will bring a tent with me just to be on the safe side in case of weather or whatever. It looks like there's gonna be any kind of rain.
I can get one for a pickup truck. But I mean, if you want to bring yours instead.
I mean, if you'll use it, if you're gonna want to use it more than that time, I'd hate for you to spend money on something.
I mean, you know, I guess I can always sleep in my front yard in the back of my truck.
That seems like a safe thing to do in Tucson.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's not the worst neighborhood, but it's not the best neighborhood. I do have cameras and I do have an alarm on my truck. And I have had my truck pillaged a couple times. Luckily, it was because I left it unlocked and nobody broke into it. They just opened it up and helped themselves at 2:00 in the morning. Yeah, I lost a burner phone, and which I kept for emergency purposes. That's why I had it, like in case I'm ever out in the middle of nowhere and my phone died or something. I had a backup phone that I paid like $50 for or something. But that got stolen. I'm pretty sure I canceled that credit card. So I mean, that's fine. Whatever. It's a $20 phone. I don't give a shit. But they took some knives and never took anything good. I had
I don't have anything good in my car.
the entire extra cab of my vehicle was full of stuff that we sell at the swap meet. I'm like, you could just taken boxes of rings. Um, you know, you want 400 stickers, you want some stuffed animals, some books. They didn't touch any of the stuff, the good stuff that we actually make money selling. But yeah, I'm not in the ghetto. I'm ghetto adjacent though. Sometimes you hear the helicopter come by. But they're not concentrated in my neighborhood, thank God. But the
Yeah,
crime in Tucson in general is still 4 times the national average.
I've gained a subscriber since we've been talking,
That's outstanding.
which is, well, it is, especially since my ads are done running. So that was a naturally gained subscriber there.
That's good stuff.
I don't know what they clicked on because I don't have that many views on my new video.
I started getting some views back. I think I mentioned to you, I started getting some views back on my YouTube. As long as it's not political stuff, they seem to like let it out a little bit. I just repost.
There's just certain keywords that they're always going to anything related to, and
yeah. Well, it's funny because I had done some, of him posts, and they got huge views, and I gained a lot of followers. And then it was like shortly thereafter that when I was, celebrating the man who is him, that they throttled my account. I'm like, yay. It's my favorite thing. I love it the most when people or companies censor me. Thank you very much.
yeah, especially when you realize that they did not censor Hamas.
Right. Oh yeah, shocking. Yeah, no, it's fine. You can murder Israelis and threaten to murder Americans, and they'll keep it open. But if you say anything about preserving this country, you are done, sir. You are done. We don't need that sort of gibberish talk in our country. This is not preservation. You stop that. How dare you? I kind of wish that I can just I wish I can just put my head in the sand, and not pay attention to reality, but man,
I pay attention.
my IQ is higher than my body temperature, so I'm kind of stuck noticing what's going on around me. If I was just
Yeah.
a stupid
The
stoner played video
tough
games.
thing about all of it is that it's like you can't trust most of the sources that are giving you information. They're
Right.
they're all giving you some kind of slighted information. You just have to look at all of them and figure out what the truth is from.
Right. You know, I use this service called Ground News, and they tell you, they aggregate all their stories from across the web, and you can look at stuff for from the left, for the left, for the right, and it'll tell you what percent it's center, left, or right. So this is one: BBC journalist in Middle East appears to justify Hamas attacks on civilians. This is 64% Republican or right, 18% left, 18% centrist. If you want to, so you can scan until you find, if you click on it, then I say, okay, I want to find one that's middle of the road. I don't want one that has, specific politics in it one way or the other. And then you can look, and then it'll take you to that news source, and then it gives you an aggregate, gives you scores, and then it tells you where it's finding, what is you, oh, you can't see it, damn it, what it's using to compile, those news stories. So it's kind of cool. They don't sponsor me, but if you want to check out Ground News, they have a free service and then a pay service too. I think I paid like $50 for the year or something. I'm also a fan of Substack. A lot of good writers on Substack. You get a lot of
Oh
the,
yeah. Tara is actually considered writing for it.
yeah. Yeah, you can get a Substack account and start writing. Like I follow Robert Malone. He's one of those doctors who dare spoke out. Seymour Hirsch, Seymour Butts. Yeah, so I like Substack, and I like Ground News to kind of find out what's going on in the world, and it's less biased. But I don't know, they always said that the was it Kennedy who said we're a nation of secrets and we shouldn't be, and journalists should be calling things out, and they should be telling the truth. And if you
And so
can't
the
stand up
CIA killed
against,
him.
yeah, if you can't stand up against that scrutiny, then maybe you're doing the wrong thing. So yeah, and then they whacked him. So I was it Robert McNamara who said everything you see on TV is false, and all of it. It's just the narrative that we want to create, and give it a handful of years. And he said most of what you see on television is false. It's a narrative that's been created by the military industrial complex to tell people how to think and how to feel. And within 50 years, 100% of everything you'll see will be false. 100%. Gee, I wonder if he was right.
Yeah.
He was one of those, I don't know. I think, is McNamara dead? He was, I think he might be dead. He was responsible for, like the Vietnam War and all those good things. But he kind of had I started to feel remorse later on in life about the horrible things that he did, the horrible things that he supported. Very much like E. Howard Hunt, who was the CIA guy who was complicit in the Watergate burglary. He, on his deathbed, came out and said, not only did the CIA whack Kennedy, but I was on the ground and I was one of the shooters. Deathbed confession. Of course, nobody wants to take anything seriously because, it's not what the news tells you.
Yeah.
It's not what the news says. No, I believe none of it, people. That's what I say. So anyway, Daniel's like, look, I'm trying to launch this channel successfully. I'm not going to say anything inflammatory. But that's cool, Jeff. You can
But
go ahead.
speaking of Kennedy's, though, I'm interested to see how Kennedy's non-party independent run for president goes.
Oh yeah. Well, where do you think he's gonna take more votes from?
He's going to take votes from the center. He's gonna get all the swing votes.
Yeah, likely, right?
Mm-hmm. Because I mean, there's, I'm kind of a centrist in general. Far left, far right, all have lost favor with me.
Well,
Because
I mean,
all I
it's a
really care
uniparty.
about, I would like to have a balanced budget. Republicans had that opportunity to do that Trump's first 2 years of office. They didn't even try.
Right.
So
Oh, yeah. It's a uniparty.
yeah. So I'm hoping that he does well. I was listening. There's a guy I listen to, or actually it's two guys I listen to. It's called 1650 Main Street. It's a guy that he has a local radio show here in Nashville, 1850 Main Street. And then he's talking to a guy who works for a nonpartisan group that tries to influence. I don't exactly know. Actually, I take that back. I think I have a friend that works for the same group that he's with.
Okay.
But they have really good discussions that are just, yes, they fall on the conservative side, but they are very much just really open conversations. I really enjoy it. Check it out.
1850 what?
1850 Main Street.
Main Street. I'll check that out for my late night listening.
Yeah, my only complaint is they're only 20-minute episodes, but they come out a couple times a week. So
So some podcasts that I'm listening to. I don't know if you know who Patrick Bet David is. PBD. He started an insurance company and then sold it, made it like $100 million. He's an Iranian immigrant American who served in the armed forces and is pro-business, pro-America, and he's conservative. He does great. He interviews fantastic people. He has on people he totally disagrees with, has on people he agrees with. He has everybody. It doesn't matter, left, right, center, and he holds people. He holds people accountable, takes them to task, not in an inflammatory way. He's quite good. And he did a big series. He's basically interviewed like all of the remaining mobsters who were big back in the day, like the 80s, 90s, 70s, 80s, 90s. He's interested in anybody who's had success in America, even if you don't have to be criminal. He's just generally fascinated by like, how do you rise to the top? Even if it is in a criminal enterprise, how do you think, and then what can you learn from that? Of course, I like Joe Rogan. Experience is decent. I mean, I don't know. I'm the only one who listens to Joe Rogan, obviously.
right. Yeah.
Roseanne Barr has come out with a podcast, and it's actually good. I like
Interesting.
I like it. She's definitely conservative, and she's definitely
that's what got her fired.
Yep. And she's definitely she says the things out loud that she says the quiet parts out loud, but she's like, it's a conspiracy. They just want us all dead. The World Economic Forum wants to reduce the population by 90%. This is how they're doing it. Like, she's very like, add it up, people. She's like, no apologies. That's her perspective. And she's been doing the rounds on a lot of podcasts. Timcast IRL is another one. Tim Pool. He's kind of he's center right, younger guy. Wears a beanie all the time. He always has a good cast of characters on. Julian Dory, the young guy named Julian Dory, he does a great podcast where he'll do long form, sometimes 3-4 hour interviews with, like, I'll give you an example of his stuff. Right. Let's see this one. Frightening JFK evidence links Nazi commando to assassination. Inside Israel Hamas war. Interview with IDF trainer. Another one. Navy SEAL exposes most dangerous worldwide black market. Navy SEAL intel officer unmasked military's deadliest team. Rebel billionaires creating X-Men of environmental revolution.
Is your light flickering?
Huh?
Is your light flickering to your side?
No, you're about to have a seizure.
It's only on the one side.
Alexa, fence post red. Alexa, change the fence post to red. There we go.
I was like, what's
I
going
think the light
on?
spectrum is starting to die on this light bulb. I need to get a new one. It likes red just fine. But those are some podcasts. If you're a fan of podcasts, check them out. Julian Dory, his stuff is really good. He just has on like people you didn't know that you'd be interested in what they do. Of course, I like me some Jordan Peterson. Jordan Peterson's always good if you want to think. If you want to dream deep and have some deep thoughts, listen to some Jordan Peterson when you're nodding off. But those are my favorites right now. I did I don't know if you're a fan of Good Eats, Alton Brown.
Yeah.
He started doing it again. He did it for like 14 years and then stopped for 10 years.
Then he did it for he's had doing it for a couple of years, and did he stop again?
I don't know if he stopped. He might have, but I just started his like season 15 or something like that, which is within the last couple of years.
Yeah.
And I know how to cook a lot more new things yesterday because I was laying in bed. This is me, and my kid mocks me because I'll be laying in bed, have a podcast playing on my stereo in the room quietly. And then I have the TV on and I'm eyeballing Good Eats and learning how to make things that I didn't know I needed to make. And then I'm watching like reels on my phone, and I'm talking to Rebecca. She's like, "It's a lot going on in here." I'm like, "I'm just relaxing." She's like, "I'm not sure how this is relaxing, but okay." Like, I just want to be fed information. So what else, sir? What are your thoughts?
Let's see. My thoughts have mostly been on YouTube stuff lately.
Yeah.
It's
addictive. It's addictive, especially trying to find the formula that hits.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, the video I posted today was how to use Genie Plus to have the best, you hit the most rides basically. And my method works. Will it work if people actually start watching my video? It's a totally different thing. But I always, so the two things that I basically point of the video, the two things I do is I study wait times before I get there. Throughout the day, I'll see what things are going. The app actually will tell, the Genie Plus part of it will kind of tell you what the forecasted wait times are. But I kind of know now people follow the same pattern every day going to that park. And at least to the Magic Kingdom. So the line that I never want to wait in is Jungle Cruise. I love the Jungle Cruise, and I don't. So that in the video, that's the first thing I get a Genie Plus for. I get it for 11:15. We get it 10:15. We get in the park right as it opens at 9 a.m. We go straight. So at 9 a.m. I already have the Genie Plus for that. We ride Thunder Mountain, Haunted Mansion, Pirates of the Caribbean, and Tiki Room before our 10:15. I think we got in line at like 10:20 or something like that. So we're 5 rides in an hour and 15 minutes in the park. Yeah. So and then from there I get a Space Mountain Lightning Lane at 11 or 12:30. 12:30? No, 11:30, something like that. And do the People Mover before that. So we got that done. Immediately get one for the Buzz Lightyear spin That's the 12:30 one. And we eat lunch while we're waiting for that one. Plus we do the Carousel of Progress. So there's 4 more by 12:30. So we've done 9 rides by 12 from 9 to 12:30. We rode 19 rides and we left at 6:30. 19 rides or experiences. The only things left were the only thing of substance really that was left was the Seven Dwarves Mine Train coaster. And that line can get up to like an hour and 40 minutes, even on a slow day. And it's like a minute and a half ride. It's fun, but it's not worth the weight that you put into it. Yeah. So I would just skip that one. But the thing is that even at this point, it's 6:30. We could eat dinner. The mine train actually starting about 9:00 starts to dip in the line because all the young kids are going home, and that's really the coaster for little kids. And you can get that stuff then. But I could have ridden everything in the park if I wanted to. But I mean, the things I didn't ride was there's a little Goofy coaster, which is kind of fun, but it's even shorter than the Seven Dwarves one. It's really the kid coaster. There's a Aladdin Carpets, which is like Dumbo, only you're on a carpet. The rock, I didn't do the rockets, and I didn't do the Utopia. Trying to think, there's 1 or 2 other things, but Hall of Presidents. So I mean, things I didn't do, it's like, yeah, who cares? I mean, I gave Daniel for his first time ever in Magic Kingdom. He got to experience the Magic Kingdom.
Right. Yeah.
But I was gonna say, so we, that was obviously late September, so Disney World's less busy then. But I did the same thing at Disneyland last July and rode 17 rides in 12 hours.
Wow.
So I was always I got pretty good at mastering the Fast Pass system, and it looks like it's translating now over to the Genie Plus, even though I have to pay for it now. But I don't always I only got Genie Plus for rides that first day, and then I bought it for the next 3 days just for me, so I can get my free pictures, because it gives you ride pictures too. Like, okay, I could spend $15 on one ride picture, or $15 and get all my ride pictures for the day. So
do they do it digitally, or they give you a physical?
Digital, and it goes right to your phone. So at Disney World, a lot of the stuff, like you have the Magic Band, and they know where you're at.
They're sending you a digital image for $15. It's just crazy.
Oh yeah. Well, no, they sent me 4 digital images, but 3 or 4 a day.
But still, think about it. Yeah. It literally costs them nothing. There's zero overhead. It's just taking your.
Basically it's the lifetime of a camera.
Right.
In the flash that you have to replace those 2 things.
Right.
And
that's wild. That's amazing. I wonder how much one, let's say they spend $1,500 on a camera, or I don't know, maybe it's a really amazing camera. Let's say they spend $10,000 on a camera. I wonder how much money that camera makes them. Millions.
I'm sure. Yeah, I'm sure the cameras don't have to be other than as technology increases, they may put better cameras in there. Right. So you probably think, like, in the lifetime of Splash Mountain from 1980, whenever they put the cameras in, I don't know when they put the cameras in the rides, actually. My earliest ride photo for Splash Mountain is like 98, something like that. So you got 22 years of Splash Mountain pictures, probably 4 or 5 cameras in that time.
Right. That's amazing. It's like when you go to the movies, your ticket pays for the cost of the film, and your concessions pay the organization that hosts it. So, be like, oh, the movie costs $15 for the 2 of us, say a matinee, and then, or maybe it's more, I don't know, maybe it's $30. But then
I think
goes to concession, get a popcorn and a slushie, and it's like $18. You're like, oh shit.
I think that's why, like, when I was single in the late 90s, the 99 was the year I really got into going to the movies. Darn it, I was going to go to a movie this weekend, forgot to. Darn it. I pay AMC to go, 23 bucks a month so I can go 3 times a week. And I didn't go at all in September. So they got free money that month.
Oh,
But anyway, so that's where I started going to about a movie a week, was back in 99. But that was the average anyway. But I would often go and see multiple movies off of one ticket. I'd go and do a matinee. And I know that they knew, but they didn't care because I was going to the concession between the movies.
right.
They're like, we got his money.
Yeah,
We're getting his money.
yeah. That's where they're obviously they're making their money. Okay, so tell me if you saw this in the theater. Sleepy Hollow,
Yes.
The Mummy,
Yes.
um, Phantom Menace.
Doesn't ring a bell.
No. American Pie,
Yes.
The Green Mile,
Yes.
Cruel Intentions,
Yes.
Girl Interrupted,
No.
10 Things I Hate About You,
No.
Fight Club,
No. Actually, I didn't see that till later.
The Matrix.
Yes. If
Mystery
you look
Men.
carefully, you can really see it in the 4K print on HBO Max, that when they're running across the roofs at the very beginning when she's being chased, it's Nashville as the background.
Oh, okay.
It's like, hey, look, there's the Batman building.
Mystery Men.
Yes.
Dick.
Is that the one with a girl from Batman or Spider-Man where they're
Michelle Williams and Kirsten Dunst?
Yeah, I saw that.
The Iron Giant.
Yes.
Office Space.
Yes. Well, I think so. I've seen Office Space so many times it's hard to know.
Right. End of Days, Schwarzenegger.
No.
The Virgin Suicides.
No.
For Love of the Game. Costner, baseball.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. I think yes. Actually,
Clear the Mechanism.
I actually saw that with the name of the girl that shall not be named in front of my wife, because she was on a jealousy date, but we went on one date and we saw that movie.
Nice. Clear the Mechanism. And you're like, yes, please. Being John Malkovich.
No.
Paradise Lost.
No.
She's All That.
I think so. I mean, I've seen it.
It's Freddie Prinze Jr.
I can't remember if I rented it or if I actually saw it in the theater. I feel like I might have rented that one.
007, The World Is Not Enough.
I've seen all the 007s in the theater.
Eyes Wide Shut.
No.
Stigmata.
Yes.
Analyze This.
Yes.
Blast from the Past.
Yes.
Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
No.
American Beauty.
Yes.
That was a hell of a year. There's a lot of good movies in this list.
99. Oh, my favorite one is The Game. That's one of my favorite movies of all time.
The Game?
With
Is that where they hunt people?
Douglas. No, it's where Sean Penn's in it, and he buys his brother. His brother's a rich jerk, and he buys him this game, and they end up messing with his life and like stealing all of his stuff. And you question what reality is throughout the entire movie.
Yeah,
one of the best movies ever.
Yeah. Wasn't that based on like Dial M for Murder or something like that? Wasn't it?
Is it? I've not seen that one.
It was like a Hitchcock inspired remake.
It's definitely much more of that line. I mean, the late 90s was the pretty much till about 2002 is really the heyday of movies. They started repeating stuff after that. They stopped taking chances.
Well, I mean, if you look at the top 100 movies of all time, there's nothing in the last 20 years.
Mm-mm.
Nothing makes it. That's crazy.
Mm-mm. There's very few movies that I can think of in the last 20 years where I was like, oh, that was good.
Right.
Most of them are just beyond that 20 years.
Yeah. I mean, Mr. Brooks with Kevin Costner. You ever see that? Mr. Brooks, Kevin Costner, he plays a serial killer.
There's been, I take that back. There's been a few good ones. Like Tom Hanks had his most recent one was pretty good. Now, it's
Man
not
Named Otto?
Yeah. But it's a sweet movie. It wasn't as powerful as, it wasn't even as good as The Green Mile. Like,
right.
The Green Mile is an amazing storytelling.
I can't
Man
believe
Named
what a
Otto
great
is just
year.
a good character.
A great year 99 was Austin Powers, Varsity Blues, October Sky.
Varsity Blues is the only one I didn't see of this.
Desert Heat, Van Damme.
Didn't know. I haven't.
Flawless.
I don't think so.
I think that's Robert De Niro. The Out of Towners.
Yeah,
Steve
Steve
Martin.
Martin. Yeah, that's a good one.
The Haunting, Galaxy Quest,
Wow.
The Talented Mr. Ripley,
Definitely
the
saw the
Bo-
last two.
the Bone Collector, The 13th Warrior,
13th Warrior. I read because I read the book of the 13th Warrior.
The Insider, Double Jeopardy, Magnolia, Bowfinger. That was a great movie. Did you ever see Bowfinger? Steve
Yeah.
Martin,
You know what's
Eddie
interesting?
Murphy.
That what's funny is I saw that twice in the theater. Actually,
Yeah,
I saw it the first night with
I
my
laughed
friend.
so hysterically when they take Eddie Murphy as Jiff and they have him. They're filming him running across the 405 freeway during rush hour, and they convince him that he's invincible. That they're all trained cars. He's like, ah! He finally gets the other side. Dude, I laughed so effing hard during that scene.
That was the movie that I learned who you see a movie with matters.
Okay.
Because I went with it one friend and I was okay. I thought it was pretty funny, but didn't really get into it. But like 2 nights later, went and saw it with a different friend, and we laughed so hard.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, so how you experience a movie depends on who you're seeing it with. That's also what I
Right.
realized. I really realized that seeing movies in theaters was better than, like, even I have a nice home theater,
Right.
but I would much rather be in the seats and experiencing a movie with people.
Of course. Dude, we'll go through a couple more, then we'll end. Man on the Moon, Jim Carrey.
Yeah, of course I saw a Jim Carrey movie. I was an impersonator back then.
Ed TV.
I think I did see Ed TV.
Matthew McConaughey.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I saw it.
Drive Me Crazy. It looks like Ashton Kutcher, maybe. I don't know. Who
I
is
don't
that?
know. If I
Maybe
saw
it's
it, it
not.
doesn't ring a bell.
Go. There's one called Go. I don't know. Looks like B
I don't
movie.
think I saw that. I remember
Teaching Mrs. Tingle. Oh, Deuce Bigelow, Male Gigolo.
didn't see that in the theater for sure.
No. Election. Outside Providence, Liberty Heights. I think we're getting into the B
Liberty
movie.
Heights, that's Michael Keaton, right?
Let's see. I don't see him. Adrian Brody, Ben Foster, Joe Mantegna.
I feel like I saw that
It's
one.
like a 50s.
Maybe
Iron
I'm thinking of
Will.
something else. There was one where he was like a stalker or something. I was thinking of something Heights.
Got it. The Other Sister.
I don't think I saw that one.
That was good. It's Juliette Lewis and Giovanna Ribisi, and they both play like special needs people who fall in love.
Oh wait, maybe I did see that.
That was quite good. Dudley Do Right, Happy Texas, Simply Irresistible, At First Sight, Val Kilmer, Three to Tango.
Pacific Heights is the movie I was thinking of, I think, but that was 1990. So
Nice. Yeah, I think we're all into like the B movies there, but still, dude, that's crazy.
yeah, I saw, I think in 99, I saw 53 movies in the theater.
Wow.
That includes, like, I saw Man in the Iron Mask 3 times. I think that was the same. It was 98, might have been 98, the Man in the Iron Mask. But basically 98, 99 is when I really developed my love of movies, because I've always wanted to have a movie theater. I've always loved movies, but like I fell in love with going to the movie theaters back then.
Yeah, I would go to the movies by myself if I didn't have anyone to go with. I remember
I've definitely done
I
that.
loved, this was probably 92, I'm guessing, maybe 92, 93, The Unforgiven.
Yeah.
And Scent of a Woman were out at the same time, and I saw both of them twice, and I saw them as a double feature. It was like one after the other. That was like 6 hours of movie. That was a lot of movie, but I love that. Always loved that. Scent of a Woman. Quick little bit of Star Wars. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, this is the movies I've seen this year in the theater.
Go.
Meg 2, Gran Turismo, Oppenheimer, Mission Impossible, Indiana Jones, The Flash, Transformers, Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, Guardians of the Galaxy 3, Return of the Jedi, Super Mario Brothers, Dungeons and Dragons, John Wick, Shazam, Cocaine Bear, Ant-Man and the Wasp, Plane, and Avatar.
I think I saw like 90% of those. I feel like, yeah. I think there's only a couple that I didn't see. I even saw Are You There, God? It's Me, Margaret.
Oh yeah,
with Hannah.
yeah. I got busy as school started, so I haven't been to as many.
Rocky
Jake,
Horror Picture Show 5 times. Have you seen that? Come on.
I've seen that once.
A little bit of I don't know, this just popped up on my feed. It says Star Wars producer Howard Kazanjian decimates Rian Johnson, J.J. Abrams, and Lucasfilm's sequel trilogy. They didn't understand the story. Star Wars producer Howard Kazanjian completely decimated the Walt Disney Company's handling of the sequel trilogy, noting that the filmmakers behind The Force Awakens and The Last Jedi didn't understand the story. For those unfamiliar with Kazanjian, he produced The Empire Strikes Back, The Return of the Jedi, Raiders of the Lost Ark, The Rookie, Demolition Man, and more. In the late J.W. Rensler's Howard Kazanjian, A Producer's Life, Kazanjian says, generally speaking, I think that the filmmakers on The Force Awakens and The Last Jedi didn't understand the story. He elaborated, they didn't understand what a Jedi Knight was all about. That's the simplest way to put it. Skywalker's the story, and I think that's what they failed at. I'm not talking about just Mark Hamill as Skywalker. It's the overall psychological story of Skywalker and, of course, the Jedi Knights. The ardent fans know more about the storyline than the filmmakers. Kazanjian is not alone in his opinion. Marcia Lucas, George Lucas's ex-wife, like, who cares about her opinion, people?
Well, she's the one that saved the original movie.
Yeah, I know. And she got $40 billion in the divorce, so she's fine. George Lucas' ex-wife and one of the editors on A New Hope shared a similar opinion. She said, I like Kathleen. I always liked her. She was full of beans. She was really smart and really bright, really wonderful woman. And I liked her husband, Frank Marshall. I liked them a lot. However, she then noted, now that she's running Lucasfilm and making movies, it seems to me that Kathy Kennedy and J.J. Abrams didn't have a clue about Star Wars. They didn't get it. And J.J. Abrams is writing these stories. When I saw that movie where they kill Han Solo, I was furious. I was furious when they killed Han Solo. Absolutely, positively, there was no rhyme or reason to it. Lucas continued, I thought, you don't get the Jedi story. You don't get the magic of Star Wars. You're getting rid of Han Solo. And then at the end of this last one, The Last Jedi, they have Luke disintegrate. They kill Han Solo. They kill Luke Skywalker, and they don't have a Princess Leia anymore. And they're spitting out movies every year, and they think it's important to appeal to a woman's audience. So now their main character is the female who's supposed to have Jedi powers, but we don't know how she got Jedi powers or who she is. It sucks. The storylines are terrible, just terrible, awful. You can quote me, J.J. Abrams and Kathy Kennedy, talk to me. What do you think?
I mean, there aren't as they don't get stuff. I mean, but to be fair, some of the fans don't get, like, the fans that really hate on the prequels don't get them either. Like, those movies are now, George Lucas can't write a script. He should never write scripts. And there's some really bad lines in each of the prequels.
Like Phantom Menace.
It's the there's kind of like a self conversation Jar Jar has with them. Like, Jar Jar as a whole doesn't really bother me, but they've just told him that he's going to help them go through the core. He's like, oh, or he's got a life debt with me. Oh, well, better dead here than dead in the core. Egads, what is Misa saying? And it just has this whole monologue. He's like, what was the point of that? It was, I mean, were you trying to, there was no exposition really. Mm-hmm. So it's like, it wasn't like it was helping the story, but and the one that, of course, everyone makes fun of is in episode 2 is Anakin, his speech about I hate sand. It's coarse, it gets everywhere and all that stuff. And
yes.
And then in episode 3,
what was that about?
He was trying to be relatable. They were trying to make it, and again, it's George Lucas's script writing. It's not his storytelling. He tells the story really well, and the story he tells the political stuff. I mean, we're pretty much living through it.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean,
I feel like if people don't like the prequels, it's because they haven't looked around.
it's a tale as old as time. Civilizations
Yeah.
rise and fall, and this is how they do it. So
Yeah.
you know, the tropes that they use in the political plot lines that they use, yeah, I mean, shit, we've been living through it since World War II, World War One.
And my biggest complaint about the sequels is there's no, so the original trilogy has the moment of Darth Vader picking up the Emperor where you just go, oh my gosh, this is it. This is the moment.
Yeah.
And the reverse of that in the prequels is Anakin's fall to the dark side and really just in slaughtering people.
Yeah.
And so you have the oh my gosh or the oh my gosh, moments.
Right.
There's nothing in that in the new trilogy.
You have that. It's a pivotal moment where you go from dark to light, light to dark.
Yeah.
Like there's that.
And it's the moment that your heart just leaps out of your chest like, oh my gosh.
Right.
It's the Avengers in Endgame, it's Captain America catching Mjolnir. I mean, that is one of the best moments ever in a movie. And but yeah, the sequels, they didn't have any emotional payoff at the end of it. That's the biggest complaint about the sequels.
Yeah, there's nothing.
I don't hate the movies. I don't think they're, and it's altogether they're not the worst movies ever, but they're enjoyable to watch. They're just they don't have heart.
They don't have the heart that makes kids talk about it in the schoolyard. You know,
Yeah.
and you don't have those moments where, I mean, when we were little kids, we're like, is Darth Vader Luke's father? And we were like, oh, I don't like, what? No, like just like flipping out over these pivotal moments that happen. And then when Return of the Jedi, you're right. You know, like when he goes up against the Emperor and like intercedes, and you're just like, whoa.
Because 2 seconds prior to that, you're like, oh my gosh, they're going to kill Luke.
Right. Right. Yeah. The peril is there for sure. It's undenied. And then good takes over. And yeah, you're right. There was none of that emotional payoff to invest people into the story. And that's just strange.
The arguments of her not earning her force powers, which Luke wasn't as powerful as her at the end of the movie either, but Luke didn't, he at least trained, right. And after he trained, he lost.
Right. He showed the journey and he got his ass kicked.
Yeah.
He had the humbling experience, and he had to face his darkness, and then the darkness was right. Yeah, and he doesn't come out as triumphant. Like, what is it that Han Solo says? I'm asleep for a little while, and
everyone gets delusions of grandeur.
Luke, a Jedi. Like, what the hell happened? But at least even in that tale from one to the other, they're letting you know that Han Solo was out, and they are taking you into the future from the last
time has passed
from where they left. So time has passed. So you have to suspend that disbelief and understand that it has been a gap.
You grow from loss.
Mm-hmm.
And Luke did in some ways face his Jedi trial. He wasn't completely. His final trial was facing the Emperor and throwing his lightsaber away. That's when he faced I could join the dark side, or I can, because he's just basically beat Vader with his anger,
right?
And he instead turns and is willing to die rather than killing him,
rather than be turned, right?
And so that they talk about the trials in episode 1. That was Luke facing the trials. Rey never has to have anything like that. There's nothing that makes her a Jedi.
She's just got magical fairy dust blowing up her little British ass, and she's just fine the whole time. She's like, well, look.
If she had some of that, the moment where all the Jedi speak to her could have been a much more powerful moment. But because she hasn't failed up to that point. So
yeah, even in Ahsoka, they cover the trials,
Yeah.
They they figured it out, at least in that show. I think that's what you say. What's his name? Dan Filoni?
Dave Filoni.
Dave Filoni,
who is George Lucas's protege.
Like, yeah, you could
he did the Clone Wars with George Lucas watching over his shoulder, and there's, as far as anyone in that, I mean, what's the guy? I can't. Favreau.
Favreau,
He's got an idea of the feel of it.
yeah.
I don't think I know if I want him handling the Jedi stuff.
Is he
But like,
he's Mandalorian, right?
yeah, he's doing the Mandalorian.
Yeah. So I mean, he created a tale out of nothing,
Right. He
to,
created, which is great. He created something that feels in the Star Wars universe that it's his own story.
right.
Now, of course, it turns out it's not completely its own story. It's leading into more, because the movie that's going to come out is going to be combining that story and the Ahsoka series.
Oh, okay.
It's going to be, yeah. There's supposed to be another series with the girl fighter. They got kicked out of Star Wars because she said people were acting like Nazis.
Oh,
What was her name? Gina
Carano.
Yeah. I couldn't believe that she got kicked out because of what she said, because what she said was people are, she understood how people treated their neighbors and like turned them in and stuff back then. And basically people acted like those people and got her fired. It's like, did you just prove her point?
Right.
I think you just proved her point.
Right. Yeah. Were we talking about Nazi cancel culture? And then you did exactly that. Shocking. Yeah. Shocking. You're either on the side of the empire or you're against it. That's all there is to it.
Yeah.
Don't trust your neighbors. Yeah, interesting though. I do appreciate, at least about the Star Wars universe, is that it mirrors so much with exactly what's going on, that if you don't want to pay attention to politics or understand, like, just pay attention, just watch what happens. Power corrupts, and absolute power corrupts absolutely. And then but it always comes back to the indomitable fighting spirit of mankind to survive is ultimately stronger and more resolute and more resilient than that power that has been corrupted. And that's the story of mankind.
The interesting thing I learned from the character of Thrawn, because his big thing was always, he would study the culture's art and stuff like that, and he would be able to find their weaknesses through that and be able to exploit them and everything. And what I've noticed watching movies a lot, I've noticed over the last 23 years, the future doesn't look promising.
Mm-mm.
There's always been some dystopian stuff in the past, but generally we think pretty highly that, Star Trek, Star Wars have these, even though there's battles, they have these much more positive views of things.
Right.
And it's like in the last 20 years, anything that there's not been a single movie. Actually, no, there has been, and it's very underrated, but Tomorrowland paints, it actually has the battle of futures. And I think it's one of the best movies because of that. You really see
George Clooney's in that, isn't he?
Yeah.
Okay, I haven't seen it.
If you haven't seen, you definitely need to watch. I think it's on Disney Plus if you have it, so still have it. Okay. You can see that battle of promising future that we have always thought of in the 50s and 60s versus, what people think of the future now. And it's like, your focus determines your reality, which is a Star Wars quote. If you are focused on the future being awful, you're going to make the future awful.
Right.
If you think it's going to be good, you're going to work to make it good.
Self-fulfilling prophecy. I mean, it's not just that, it's a Jesus quote, it's a Buddha quote, it's a Taoist quote. It's anybody who's been spiritually connected to the universe understands that. You reap what you sow. You will manifest what you think. But you're right, everything has been dystopian, dark. It's been about power grids going down. It's been about zombie apocalypse. It's all been apocalyptic. And then 90% apocalyptic. And why are they trying to get us ready for that? Like, what's the point if you're going to wipe us all out? Or they just want the strongest to survive?
Well, I think it demeans the spirit, for one. I mean,
that's a good point.
If you're only getting stories of negativity, you're going to become the negativity, and then you're easy to take over too.
That's true.
Someone who's optimistic and believes that they're gonna, when you start taking away what they believe is the right future, they fight for it.
That's a good point. Yeah. Keeping people disenfranchised, disconnected, negative. And you, if you can manipulate those who want to, I say the same thing. They go to work, come home, smoke a joint, play video games, go to sleep, start over.
Yeah.
They're disconnected from the world. Then that's, I mean, if I was an empire who wanted to make sure that they didn't fight back, I mean, wouldn't that be a goal? If you want to make them weak
Yeah.
and dumb. The crazy part to me is how many people are weak and dumb. I mean,
And
it's
think that
nuts.
they're strong and smart.
And think that there's something else. I'm like, you don't see it. You don't see what's being fed to you. You
Well,
don't get that. You don't even get that you're being fed it.
Talking about
they're just like
strength.
scooping feces into their mouth, going, "This is so delicious.
You should try
This is amazing. You should try this feces." You're like, you're insane. You're literally insane, and you're stupid.
Speaking of like the strength, moral strength, or strength of character and stuff like that. So while I was at Disney with my friend, twice we were mistaken as a gay couple.
Mm.
And I laughed it off. I didn't say anything to them. I didn't correct them or anything. I just walked away and laughed it off.
Right.
And actually laughed about it, not just laughed it off, laughed about it.
Right.
But it's like you get to this misgendering someone is like the worst thing you can do. Is like, yeah, no, get over it.
Right. Right. Well, it's about hurting somebody's feelings.
Yeah.
And what's nuts is like I had the same conversation with my kids when they would, be in a tizzy and be beside themselves, upset about something stupid. And I'm like, when did I ever tell you that your feelings count? Like, I feel like I failed you as a dad. Like, your feelings don't matter. They don't. Like, they could be yours, but it doesn't mean they're relevant to anything. It doesn't mean that they matter. Like, the world doesn't give a crap
your
about your
focus
feelings.
determines your reality. If you
Right.
think your emotions are all that, then that's all you're gonna think about is your emotions.
Hannah and I are driving down the street the other day, and she goes, "Father," I say, "Yes, child." She says, when I get very frustrated about something and you yell at me, it makes me sad." I said, "Oh, okay, cool, good to know." And I just kept looking forward, and I'm like, "What do you want? Did you want me to apologize? I'm not going to apologize." I said, "If you're doing a task and you lose your mind and you start throwing things and yelling and just losing your mind over a task, I'm going to yell at you because you're acting like a fucking idiot. Did you, I'm glad that you told me that it bothers you, but it means I'm doing my job because I'm your dad. There's part of the world that most of the world doesn't give a shit about. If you're frustrated and you want to throw a fit, it doesn't matter. It's irrelevant. Focus, come up with a different way of approaching it and solve the fucking problem. You're doing whatever, you're doing arts and crafts, or you can't get the thread through the needle and you want to flip the fuck out. I'm like, I'm not going to tolerate it. It's ridiculous behavior. If you want sympathy, talk to your mother. If you want reality and love, talk to your dad. So it's okay that it bothers you, but I'm not going to change because I love you too much to tell you that your feelings fucking matter that much. They don't. Now, we can have situations where I'm like, I'm sorry you feel that way. I'm sorry you're frustrated. I'll give you a hug. I love you, of course. But let's think past this. Let's not die on this fucking stupid hill. There's no sense. I say I see the world more. I see the world more logically, and that's what dads tend to do, and moms see the world more emotionally, and you're probably gonna be able to get a different reaction from her. And if we're both telling you that you're wrong, then you should probably pay attention to that. You should probably that's probably that means that we are both a proxy of the real world for you. We're showing you like, no, okay, you need to gather your thoughts and find a different perspective. But I don't see it as a fail. When you do that, it makes me sad. Okay. Yeah. Well, when you do that, it makes me sad. That's fair. We can both be disappointed in each other in that moment. It's not going to change me though. Trust me, when you fail at work and you want to lose your mind like your mom does, and you want to come home and be like, they're all against me. Everyone hates me. I hate my boss. I hate my data. They yelled at me. And I'm like, grow up. I've always been a boss. So I've always been on that side. I never could relate to Lisa because she was always an employee and I was always a boss. So I'd be like, I would fire you too because you're a shitty employee. You need to show up on time. You know, you can't show up late. You can't have a contract and then violate it daily and then blame them because you can't fucking hold up your end of the contract. Hold up your end of the contract. It's called being an adult. I said, we've literally moved to get you close to your work and you still would show up late and you worked at the kids' school. The kids would get to school on time and you would be late to work. And it's the same place from the same distance. Well, that's a you problem. That's not a me problem. You're a moron. I can't have sympathy for you when you create your own distress all the time. Yeah. I'm sure that didn't help with our marriage, you know, but it was just like, I can't feel bad for you. I literally fired somebody today who acted like you. And I don't lose sleep if I had to fire somebody because you fire yourself. It's not my opinion. I'm just upholding the rules, you know, like this is the job. My job is more important to me than your job. I used to tell people that. I want you to succeed. I really do. I'll give you every tool I can possibly give you to be successful based on my experience with thousands of people over 20 plus years. But at the end of the day, understand that my job is more important to me than your job is to me. And I can't take your job any more seriously than you take your own. So you're going to have to meet me. You meet me here and then I'll lift you up and take you to the next level. But I'm not going to be the one who's just begging you to show up to work ever. That's on you. Be an adult. I feel like we need more of that. That's why Jordan Peterson is so famous, so popular.
Yeah, isn't that sad? That's what's made him famous, is just telling people to
just being a dad, being like, clean your room.
I will say overall, like my experience with Gen Z so far is way better than my experience with Gen X or Gen Y ever was. Millennials,
like the millennials. Oh yeah.
I've worked with a lot of millennials doing AV at the hotels and stuff, and they just weren't into working. The only two Gen Z people I've worked with so far, both were amazing employees. And one of them I still work with. The other one left to go. She lives out in Arizona somewhere. Take care of her family. So yeah.
Well, that's cool. That's promising.
Yeah. And then of course I know my kids and I know a lot of their friends. So I'm like, I have some promise for which, you know, they were raised by us. Gen X raised Gen Z.
Right. Exactly.
So,
right. Yeah. My kids be like, they'll be bitching about something and I'll just be sitting there quietly. They're like, yeah, dad, we know. You don't have to say it. Hard work solves most problems. Like, we understand. I'm like,
yeah. Well, yeah, I had a, so, you know, at PSAV, I had gone from not knowing anything in 2014 to by 2017, I was at the top level of tech that they could make me. And one of the guys asked me, he's like, well, how did you do that? I said, well, I said yes to everything. When they wanted someone to do something, I said, yeah. And if I didn't know how to do it, I figured out how to do it before I got there.
Right. Yeah. Do some research. It's amazing. You'll find the answers.
Somebody
in the world has done it.
And beyond, you know, saying yes, I said yes with a smile and did the job well with a smile. The clients always liked me, except for one, where she called me and my friend the C group or the C team. But we actually for a long time took that as a badge of honor as being the C team.
Nice. Yeah, isn't it amazing? Do it with a smile. Don't be afraid to try. When they hired me at this college, I remember the chief technology officer, he chimes in, he goes, you know, Jeff, you remind me of a guy I went to college with. He's all real funny, very quick-witted, really out there, like very authentic, like what you see is what you get. And, you know, probably could have used a filter from time to time, but at the same time, one of those guys that could basically say anything to you, and even if it stung a little bit, you still loved him for it anyways. And I was like, oh, never heard that. And he goes, you remind me of that guy a lot. And I'm like, well, I hope.
Is this your way of telling me I need to use a filter more often?
Right. I was like, what's the feedback here? And he goes, the thing about this guy is like, he was one of those people who could just solve problems, and he was just resolute on solving a problem. And like, he didn't have all the professional designations in the world. He didn't like, he wasn't the guy who got the degree in everything, but you put a problem in front of him and he could figure it out and he could solve it. And then he couldn't show you how it's done and the method that he used to get it done, you know? And he goes, you remind me of that guy. Like, I said,
Is this your way of telling me I'm getting a raise?
is this a good thing? Is it bad? This is
It sounds like a good thing to me.
He's like, he goes, I'm just saying, he is a good guy. And I think every organization needs that guy who's willing to dive in and solve a problem and figure out a way. He goes, because I don't think that you let yourself fail at things. He goes, and that's good for any company. And I was like, so you're saying there's a chance?
Well, that was always the one thing I've
me.
heard Jordan Peterson say too, is that, you know, the creative people don't make it at the lower level because they got to be creative.
Mindless workers.
Yeah.
Right.
And so they get rid of them, and then they don't get them in the management because they didn't, you know, work up through there.
Right.
So
yeah, well, you gotta, if you I learned how to play the game, you know. I learned how do I survive at this level doing this type of work? What do I got to do at this level with this type of work? So it, you know, it allowed me to be really good with people, really good with people in performance, and understand how that works for an organization, and then be really good at systems and solving problems with systems. But understanding how systems and people relate has made me very valuable to the company. You know, that's why when I was in the hospital, when I was out for a month, when I came back, they were just like, we are so glad you're back. We are so grateful that you're back. Like, we missed you. And I was like, wow, I was feeling very vulnerable, you know, 8 months into a job to miss that time. And like, they're going to replace me. And they're like, no. Like, finding somebody that everybody likes and is also the tech expert, like, that's crazy, you know. But those are skills, like, those are skills that to me, it's like a minimal skill is work hard, do what it takes. And exactly what you said, it's like volunteer to do the next thing. Like, it's okay to be like, hey, who can do this? Be like, I'd like to give it a shot. And, you know, like, give me a shot, boss. I'll sort through it. I'll figure this out. No worries. You don't have to lie that you're an expert in everything.
As long as you don't have to lie at all. You just have to prove through ethic. Prove that you can learn something.
Right. Like, solve the problems.
I think like I said, the young guy, the just out of college guy that I work with, he's that way. In fact, I've been trying to teach him like where the line is of what, because he doesn't sit still very well. And, you know, a lot of I always describe us as being firefighters waiting for fires to some degree. There's some things we can do to prevent the fires.
Right.
But mostly we're waiting for the fires.
Right.
So there's a lot of downtime in our job. And he can't sit still in those times and goes and finds stuff, and which, you know, it's fine, but like, you gotta know when you gotta take those breaks when you get them, because there's going to be the times you're not going to get those breaks, that the entire city's burning down and you've got to put out all those fires.
Correct. Yeah, it's funny. It took me a while to get used to that, working for this organization, that, you know, there are times when there are weeks when I don't have much going on. I've got some things, some projects. So a lot of stuff is dependent on other groups getting their pieces done too. I'm like, okay, hey, I put in a ticket. I need this done and this done so I can finish my piece. But I learned how to be patient around that. And also that when things go sideways, and which I did a couple of weeks ago, I had things go sideways for the entire, you know, organization. It was like 5 days straight of 14-hour days, keeping, you know, trying to keep everything working, or there was a lot, you know. And I'm like, that's when I truly earned my keep.
Well,
when things are working well, then it's okay for things to be quiet. They should be quiet sometimes. That means that it's working.
I'm very big on not stepping into other people's jobs, because it's all about perception. If you fix this thing for somebody because you can, this person here now thinks you're responsible for this thing.
Mm-hmm.
And of like, but if this thing really, really breaks, I can't do a thing about it.
Right.
So
I know how to patch it, but I don't know how to rebuild it.
right.
Right.
It's like this computer stuff. I was like, I can do basic computer, fix a computer and get, settings and stuff, right? But just because I can, you shouldn't be calling me to do it. Like, and I had I had someone the other day, there's been network issues at the company that I serve. And one of the EAs, messaged me and the desktop people. I'm like, this is a known network issue. We brought it up to them. It's like, if you want to try to make it get fixed faster, if people of your level start putting in tickets for it,
Right.
it'll get fixed.
It'll force an escalation.
They don't listen to me. I mean, geez, I've been working 2 years on this Dante issue, and it's, though they have a fix for it, it's still not fixed. I still have to go into these rooms every morning to make sure they're working, and they can break down midday and I won't even know until someone calls me and says there's microphone's not working. But
yeah, it's funny. I ran into a bunch of things. We had some issues that were from the software that we use, from the networks that we use. And then, but there's been other changes that have been peripheral, which are, during COVID and people working remote, the ISPs were pumping more data bandwidth into residential areas and not as much into business districts. But now that more people are back in the business districts, they've changed it. And then we have people who are just having service interrupt issues, and they're having issues with their internet service provider. Well, the most data extensive piece they use is mine, it's the VoIP phone services. So they come to me every time that there's something, a hiccup. They're like, it's broken, it's broken, it's broken. I'm like, no, it's not broken. You're on a 5G Wi-Fi, your modem is in your kitchen and you're upstairs in your master bedroom. That's the problem. You're on 5G and it doesn't go through walls and it doesn't go through floors. So you either need to throttle to 2.4G, which will go through walls and doors. It just doesn't have as much bandwidth, but at least it can penetrate. Or you need to get your modem in this line of sight in the same room or same general area.
Or do a hardwired,
or
do
hardwired
something,
Ethernet
do a
cable,
nest.
which when you're hired, it specifically says that you need to be hardwired into your router, or your modem, but nobody does it.
I mean, it's less necessary now because you can get speeds like, we have a mesh network which syncs well, and if you have it set up properly, you don't have those lag, those connection issues. But and I can get up to 250 megabits, which is more than any one computer doing regular business is going to need.
Right.
But yeah.
So I wind up troubleshooting because something happened that was relevant to me. And then after that, I have 15 people that I worked with last week who it comes down to, it's nothing wrong with our program. It's your computer. Your computer is getting and I'll be on with them. I'm like, watch your little Wi-Fi icon down here in the corner. You see how it's at 4 bars? Watch, it's going to drop to 3 and then 2 in a second. And then they're like, do, and it shuts down. And then things start buffering. And I'm like, that is your Wi-Fi signal. That is your problem. You are losing connectivity to your router. And they're like, oh, so what do I do? I'm like, I'm not IT, but I wind up working with the CTO, and I'm like, and he goes, you're right. This is a thing that we need to fix. Like, it needs to be fixed for everybody. They need to be like, you must either have your modem in line of sight or be hardwired to it. And I said, dude, when you hire everybody, that's what's on. That's the agreement. I remember, I pay attention. Nobody honors it, and then everybody acts surprised when I'm having to tell them, go to Walmart and buy an Ethernet cable, and then I don't give a crap where it is, plug it into plug your computer, or take your computer and go work next to your modem on Wi-Fi and tell me if it's better. Like, get up and move. It's a laptop. Get up and move with it. Go to your living room and work and tell me if it's better. Like, but why am I troubleshooting this? I'm technically not IT, and it's an IT college, which is what makes me laugh. I'm like, we literally sell IT training to students, and then we have so many IT problems. It's funny.
Well, Cisco has it'll say incoming network issue. Like, it'll sense the network issue and it'll tell you up on the screen, and people will call, oh, it's doing this. It's like, yeah,
Yep.
Is that the A or the V? It's not me then.
Right. Right. My
we
stuff's
had
just plugged
we had
into
this
it.
one we had this one group when I first started over at this building, and they used to complain, oh, every room we get, especially this one room, but it followed him. Then they complained about the next room they moved to. But they're like, ever since they did some roof work in the ceiling or on the roof 6 months ago, we've had our audio cuts out, and we can't, people can't hear us from the room. Well, something else happened that 6 months ago, because roof work had nothing to do with microphones that are in a table going through the floor.
Right.
So but something else happened in that 6 months. They hired somebody new to manage their WebEx calls. And so what was happening was every time they weren't setting it up on mute on entry. So every time someone was coming in and they were making noise on the microphone, he clicked mute all, which muted the room. And so, and like the last time one of the last times it happened, like they called me, I was down the hall from them, and I ran down there and I was like, oh, you're just muted. Don't hit mute all, blah, 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 and walked out. And when I came back, they called me before I could even get halfway down the hall. They're like, it happened again. And I got down there, and luckily, like I guess third highest guy for IT was in the room, and he's like, they keep hitting mute all. So he's actually a big fan of us. Really all the executives and higher ups are, because we do fix stuff. They see us, and we fix stuff. Whereas, the WebEx team is never there. We've trained more people on how to use WebEx than they have, and we only need to train them as far as how they do with the AV system, not how do you set up a meeting so that you don't mute people when they come in and making noise, or you mute the person, not the entire meeting.
Yeah, it's funny. We'll onboard somebody, and we have trainers for each division who do the training on how to use the phone systems also. And then finally, after a year and change, I was going to work with the admissions trainer on helping a director understand some things. And he's like, hey, would you sit in with me? And I'm like, sure. So we did the training together, and I was showing some steps to do, like, you can do this, you can do that. And he was like, I didn't know you could do that. And this is the trainer. I didn't know you could do that. Wait, hold on. He goes, oh my gosh, I had no idea that these functions worked. Like, how long have these worked for? He said, well, since I got hired. And he's like, I said, what, like, how have you been solving this problem? Well, we use this other system and we do this. And it's so funny, like, but just getting together and looking at something, with the expert, and then, the trainer, you don't know what you don't know, until you're in there together. So I think that's something that's pretty important, is to, have a subject matter expert from another area, do stuff together sometimes. And, you find out that people are operating off of wives' tales and rumor. You're like, well, they're like, man, this is great. They told me when we were done, it was like half hour meeting. They're like, this is amazing. Like, this system can do everything. I'm like, yeah, that's why you pay so many tens of $1,000s a month to have it. It could do all the things. I say, whoever set this up when you guys started was rubber bands and paper clips, and but they hired me to fix that stuff, and I did. People are goofballs.
Yeah. Well, hey,
Like,
it's good that they're goofballs, because we wouldn't have work if they didn't.
Yeah, that's true. Keeps me employed. I get to be the hero. Like, if something actually does go down, I'll tell them. I'm like, hey, we noticed such and such is having lag issues. And they're like, we think that you just break things every few months just so you can earn your keep. And I'm like, no, I earn my keep just based on my personality and charm. I don't have to break things. You guys break things. That's fine. You guys keep me plenty busy. But anyways, wow.
On that note,
we went on for a while.
Yeah, we were hanging out.
Yeah, we got on a roll. Okay, well, I think you should go to bed.
I should.
I should go
5:30 is gonna get here early.
listen to a podcast, watch some reels, talk to my girl. Yeah. Maybe not
Alrighty.
drink any more cinnamon tea tonight.
No, not if you want to sleep through the night.
Yeah, probably want to wait till tomorrow before I hit that again. But
I mean,
I'll
really, you got rid of it all now, so
I feel like could be more. There could be more. I don't know, man. But that stuff cleared me out, not violently, but a little painfully. Like, oh, I didn't know. I forgot I had guts up here underneath my ribs. Like, drink cinnamon tea with honey. It's not just good for indigestion. It's good for your entire digestive tract, I think. All right. Well, yeah. It's nice catching up, my friend.
all right. And we'll talk to you one more time, and then we'll see each other.
Yeah, sounds good. I'm excited. All right, brother. Say goodnight, Grace.